Hey guys, Light Miser here. Well, 2 days ago I got my 100th follower. Thank you very much for that. I don't actually deserve that because I haven't posted a video since February of last year. And I want to get you guys up to date on what's going on and why it's happened. Um, it's been a crazy year. Before that, in January last year, right before that video was posted, on my daughter's minivan that I was working on, right before I started working on that video, she got married. Got that minivan back together. Her and her husband, we got them situated a place to live. And then in March for spring break, took my two youngest boys with my wife on a cruise to Mexico. California is only 6 hours from here, so. In the meantime of all that going on, one of my ongoing side customers, I build custom electronics for the St. George. I can't talk today. As well as all that going on, one of my side customers, I build custom electronics for the St. George Children's Museum, and also take care of other IT needs that they have and other custom design stuff for them. I build a lot of display base and audio trigger stuff off of Raspberry Pis and Arduinos. Built a lot of stuff, fun stuff like that over the time. Shortly after I got back from Mexico, they had picked up an augmented reality system that it's a really cool system. It uses the camera system from an Xbox 360 through their servers and custom design software and a projector. So it'll project down onto a sandbox, and as you're digging through it, it's displaying custom layover with it. And as you dig through, you find things with different layers, and they have games involved and whatnot. So the museum got two of these units that in the sand pits they're digging through, they find dinosaurs and dinosaur bones and volcanoes that erupt. It's a really cool system. I helped them get that system up and running, and I've helped with some debugging with some issues going on over the time with that, getting that fine-tuned. Part of the complication there is the manufacturers of the software and the components are out of Bulgaria, and that's obviously time delay and translation issues and whatnot. Well, got them most of the way along, got the system up and running, had to do a few issues, and then I decided to give up half of my summer by running for local politics. Last summer I ran for city council. There was 3 seats open. A lot of people around here concerned about what's been going on here in our city, and so much so that 16 people ran for those 3 seats. 18 people ran for those 3 seats. Well, I came in last. I like to joke around that I beat the 2 people that dropped out after 2 weeks, and I beat the 2 people that got kicked off for not turning in their financial disclosures. Of the 14 people left, I came in dead last. But a lot of what I was concerned with when I was talking about some of the other candidates I became friends with, added that the ones that got through primary, 2 of those guys added my concerns on with theirs, and so my messaging at least got out there. Some more fun stuff was right after that finished up after the primary. We went down to California to go to the Disneyland Oogie Boogie Bash. We do that every year. Spend way more money than I should, especially if you're not liking what Disney's doing, but it's a very fun party. My kids have come to love that. Then in the midst of all that, I started developing a micro SAS. And I'll talk more about that later. I'm about to the point of demo, and once I've demoed it and have the software ready for beta, then I'll start publicly talking about it outside of people that are testing it for me. Along that same vein, I also came up with an invention for the theater industry. I'll talk more about that later once I've got the trademark and the patents all set up. Don't want to give that away too much, but that's taking time to prototype, and along with the Micro SAS, building that whole system out. And then in early December, if you remember, I talked about when the Lumina died, I got my son a Kia. Well, the alternator went out on it. At least I'm pretty sure that was part of it. Indicated it was a bad alternator, so I swapped out the alternator, swapped out the battery, which you were supposed to do, and swap out the alternator. Still was giving problems, and it turns out that, and I don't know if it happened before, after, during, it was part of the process, and willing to bet it was part of the process leading up to the failure. The positive line coming off the alternator back up into the fuse block had started shorting out. It was falling apart and sparking, and so the plastic enclosure halfway melted, And when I finally discovered it, the connector was completely apart from the wire itself, so that the car wouldn't pass obviously any electricity at all. Got that fixed. The car's been working fine for about 2.5, 3 months, and then suddenly this week, the battery died. So pulled the battery, went and had it tested at AutoZone, where we bought the battery from, and they said it was a dead battery, gave us a new battery. And I even, once he had started the car back up, pulled the connector off, and the engine was running, which usually indicates the alternator was fine. Went for about a day and a half, 2 days, and the battery died again. So I pulled the battery off. Thankfully it says safe place on the street. Pulled the battery back to my dad's shop where I do most of my repair work. Put a trickle charger on it. Battery's taking charge. So tonight I'll be going back over, putting that battery back in, and then getting it to AutoZone, doing a full test with the alternator. I think what's happening is, and it's probably because of the connector that was going bad, the alternator's failing. And it was a refurbished alternator, so I don't know what the warranty is going to be on that. But I think that the alternator works intermittently, so I'm going to have them test that and verify that. And if my assumptions are correct, then I get to go and pull off the alternator, take it back to them, have them test it, get another one, all that fun stuff. While working on the alternator, I discovered I was having some issues with a hernia that I've had for several years. It's an issue with my family where it's called umbilical hernia, right at the top of the belly button. It gets a little weak there, and I've known I've had it for years. When I was working on the alternator, it started bulging. My mom had a strangulated hernia, same type of thing, where it actually stuck out in the muscle constricted around it, and you can actually die from that. So once I saw it bulging, I knew I should get it taken care of. So the last Friday of the year, right before New Year's, I had that done. Spent New Year's on drugs. So I'm also waiting for that to heal up a bit. I think I'm at the point where now I can tackle the alternator. Timing worked out where I think I can tackle that now with part of the healing process. So that'll be what's going on. So I may end up posting some more on that because of some of the oddities to the Kia versus an American-made engine on dealing with the alternator. Not horrible, just odd. And then update on the BMW. The BMW is not running, but I have not gotten rid of the car. Just taken way too long with everything else I've been doing over the last year. The engine is back together. I did put in an aftermarket Chinese racing radiator. One of the things I've not liked about the BMWs from the 90s and even now is that the radiators have plastic parts on them. Heat, all that. I just never really liked that. To get an actual E36 radiator, new one, was about $250. For $120, I got an all aluminum racing Chinese radiator that actually has more fluid volume. And down here in the desert, I just felt that was a good idea all around. Put a lot of aftermarket Chinese parts on it. So like I said, the engine is running. I've got the battery disconnected right now because it's just sitting there. Next steps, as you can see from the pass-by video here, I do have a hood for it. I do have the grill for it. The next steps is getting those painted. Worst comes to worst, it will be middle of next month, middle of March when I get the painting done. I'm hoping to do it before then. I'm involved with a lot of the local politics, and there's a lot of political meetings between now and mid-March, and that may script it. I may have to delay because of that. Once I got the painting done and the hood on, the grill on, the front driver's seat still needs to be replaced. You can see I've got the spare sitting there. And then I'm also going to be working on the wiring for the motor for the convertible top. After talking with the BMW shop here, they think it's probably a shorted wire somewhere in the cover, the top itself, in the convertible top. So I got to wire chase all that. I've also got a subwoofer and amp I'm going to stick in I've got things torn apart. It's all ready to go. So my goal still is to have my BMW, my convertible, back up and running by the end of March, early April, so I can enjoy that in the spring sunshine down here. So that's where I'm at, and I apologize for just disappearing for the last year. It's been a crazy year, and yeah, I can't say I expect it to calm down. I keep taking on another side project and get different ideas for stuff I'm building, and just try and be better about getting videos for you guys. Talk to you later.